Welcome to the Everything Podcast.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast, Season 2, Episode 37. Yes, yesterday was Episode 36, so that is a problem on my part, a mistake. So sorry about that, yes, because I've had to write down the numbers to my plans for what I'm going to cover on each episode, because I wouldn't be able to remember it. So obviously in yesterday's episode, I covered Only Murders in the Building Season 3 Episode 3 review, a few videos that have been released, and the One Killer Question, which is the official after show of Only Murders in the Building Episode 3. So obviously in today's episode, continuing with Only Murders in the Building, just looking at Season 3 Episode 4, and I'll show you another One Killer Question episode soon. So yes, as I said yesterday, it's been about a week since I recorded some episodes, so I had to try and remember from a week ago. Well, that's not what I've had to do today, because it came out this morning from when I'm recording this, and only a couple of days ago from when you're watching it. So in Season 3, Episode 4 of the Everything Podcast, Oliver, played by Martin Short, is trying to figure out the perfect date for him and Loretta, which goes against his rules of not dating co-stars, which I think is a very good rule, but he's decided to break it. I don't know if it's got anything to do with Ben Glenroy's death, played by Paul Rudd, or not, but yeah. So yes, in this episode that happens, there's Charles, played by Steve Martin, has stage fright, which you might think is a bit strange for an actor who's supposed to have been on TV, the show Brazos, which I think it's made up, I'm not entirely sure. But the difference is, and I'm going to use the podcast as an example. So for a TV show, you can do another take. For the podcast, I could if I needed to and something went wrong. I try not to do many takes. I try to make it as live and spontaneous as possible. Like with the mistake of the numbering at the end of yesterday's video. I could redo it. Whereas, well, on stage, you have one shot. And it's the same with the podcast most of the time. I try to do it in one take, one go round, because otherwise I would have no voice on some episodes, which would not be fun for listening or watching the podcast. So yeah, that's the analogy. And he ends up in the White Room, which I thought, because it appears like 3 times during the episode, I thought, is that like an image, an analogy of the afterlife? No, it's the stage actor's version of writer's block. So in one of the scenes, we see Charles, as I said, played by Steve Martin, attempting to sing. I think he does quite a good job. And he ends up with no pants. Then the next one, there's a baby, a doll baby. There's 3 dolls because it's about the song, on the roof. I can't remember what the other one is. Oh yes, he wasn't singing for the third one. And he ends up being engaged to someone that he was trying to break up with. So, yes, there's not really any. So in this episode, they were Kimber, who is the TikTok influencer character, was assumed to be the prime suspect because she didn't have the hanky that Ben, played by Paul Rudd, gave all of them on opening night. But now she sold it on eBay or Amazon. It's not specified, but that's the kind of website you're looking at. But no, it's you find on Ben's dressing room because Tobert, played by Jesse Williams, and Mabel, played by Selena Gomez, at the end of episode 3. Yeah, I forgot to mention it in the last video, but as I said, it was over a week ago. They found some footage from the dressing room, and Steve Martin, who plays Charles, Martin Short, who plays Oliver, and Mabel, who is played, as I said, by Selena Gomez, right effing pig on the mirror, and it's realised to be Joy's lipstick. So obviously in season 1, Charles had a relationship with Jan, who's now in prison for killing Tim Kono, and it might be that the same things happened with Joy. Unlikely though, as there's 10 episodes, and that was the end of episode 4. But before we get to One Killer Question, there is a few videos I want to talk to. So this is a clip from last week's episode, season 3, episode 3 of Only Murders in the Building, with a song featuring Meryl Streep as Loretta. Next up is the
No peacocking.
One Killer Question, episode 4. So here it is. Here is One Killer Question, episode 4 on the Everything Podcast, season 2, episode 37.
Oh, sorry, I was disassociating. Welcome to One Killer Question, the only Murders in the Building after show. I'm your host, Michael Cyril Creighton. So in this episode, Charles goes to the White Room.
What room?
White Room, it's an actor thing.
A stage thing.
There's serenity in his mind, but what the hell is happening to his body? I'd like to welcome Andrea Martin.
Hello.
And Kara Wang.
Hello, hello.
Welcome, it's so nice to have you guys here. Okay, the White Room. What really happened to Charles in there?
When Steve goes into the room, it's like he's smiling, the music is playing, like it seems very serene.
When you're in the White Room, or a White Room, I would assume you're relaxed, it's meditative, you're going inside. I mean, the last thing you want are pants on. You know, you want to just be totally unencumbered.
It seems to present as a very serene place once you're in it.
Yeah.
But when you're out of it, very scary.
May I step out to call my therapist?
Yes, of course you can.
I've never seen Charles look disheveled, hair messed up, holding those babies.
The babies.
What's going on with those babies?
When we think of babies, we think of screaming, we think of poop flying everywhere, we think of the chaos that
Yeah.
they bring.
Oh,
you
I think in the White Room there was definitely poop flying everywhere. Because when he comes out of it, when the music sort of fades away,
Yeah.
we start hearing the sounds of, I think, monkeys or perhaps an antelope. I don't know.
You know what, we need an animal wrangler here when I do my bit.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
That made my day. Let's look at the White Room a little differently. Is it possible that Charles is possessed by a demon? A demon that hates creepy baby dolls.
As in, like, the demon takes over and pushes Charles into the White Room and then takes over his body in real life.
Right.
Maybe the demon wants to come out to play.
I don't know.
Like, that was deep.
I don't. Would Disney want to pay another principal?
Right. The demon can only do one episode. We don't have enough.
Yeah.
But then the final White Room.
Yeah, that's where he's doing the fish, where he's making.
Yeah, with this White Room is all about joy.
He seems very content and serene. It's not like he's fighting anything.
Yeah.
And this is my imagination. So
Yeah.
maybe he feels like he's one with joy.
When he comes out of the White Room, we see joy, beaming, so happy. This has been in the works for decades, right? They've known each other for so long. And you see Charles completely panicked, and he has pearls around his neck, and he's holding flowers.
Yeah,
He's
those
definitely-
pearls and the flowers are from the fish tank.
Oh,
and
from
so,
the treasure
And so is the
chest.
little ring that he puts on her finger. It's like little trinkets that are in the fish tank. They're
Oh,
trinkets
wow.
for the fish, yeah.
So that means in real time, he reached his hands
Yeah.
into the tank
Yes.
to get these
Yes.
items
Yes,
to
yeah.
present to you.
Okay.
Yes, and I honestly believe that part of him wants to ask Joy to marry him, but he's so caught up in fear and baggage from his life, and
Yes, he
he's
did.
so not used to a commitment.
I think that Charles does want to be with Joy. I think, like you were
Yeah.
saying, it's just like the practical logistics of what life, how it changes his daily life freaks him out so much. And that's what I think catapulted him into the White Room.
Right.
I'm with Kara.
Yeah, I'm with Kara too.
I'm with Kara.
He
Team
said
Joy.
it as clearly as anyone could. Okay, so I think it's clear we might never know what happens in the White Room, but what is clear to me, it's time to play One Killer Game. So we're gonna tell our own White Room stories. A time you totally blanked. What set it off and what happened? Andrea, we will start with you. Lights, please.
Well, I was in the wings of a theater, about to go on my own show called Andrea Martin, Final Days, Everything Must Go. Went out with a lot of energy, and Seth Rudetsky was playing the piano when I started. The audience cheering, I've just hit town, so come on down, there ain't nothing I won't show. A merry mix of songs and shticks, and everything must go. Didn't know where I was, couldn't remember a lyric. The audience just felt like one big blob of poo, just right there in the audience. It didn't feel like a blob of poo, but it did feel like I was the blob of poo, and I couldn't get it back, and then all of a sudden something just switched, and I was able to resume with the lyrics, but it was so terrifying. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. First of all, that is the best title for a show ever. Fantastic title.
Yeah.
That must be scary. I've forgotten lines on stage, but in a musical.
It's really tough because the music continues. It's not like you can
Take a dramatic beat.
Yeah, you can't take a dramatic pause.
I have my own White Room story. Light, please. I was doing a play downtown, a beautiful play. It was about a theater company, a traveling theater company during the Black Plague. And I had a 20-minute monologue as the playwright. And the monologue was about death and identity and medieval art. And we had a student matinee. So we get to this monologue, I start saying the words, and I completely leave my body. I do not remember doing the monologue. I do not remember anything that happened. I come off stage, and I say to the stage manager, it went well. I think they really liked it. And she said, Michael, you cut 10 minutes off of the play. And I said, did I cut lines? Did I take stuff out of the play because it was so well written? And she said, no, you just talked really fast. So I was sort of in slow motion in my head.
Right.
But in physical sense, I was going real fast.
Oh my God.
10
It
minutes
makes me
off of-
nervous
yeah.
hearing these stories.
Yeah, right?
Totally.
It can
I wish I
happen to
were in
you.
a white room right now, away from everybody here.
Kara, it's time for your White Room story.
Well, my White Room story, I remember I was 19. I was moving to China. And I just remember getting on the plane. There was a toddler that was sitting next to me that was crying. And then I just remember going blank and then landing in Beijing. I was like, did I fall asleep? I looked in the mirror, my eyes were so swollen. I know I was crying, and I don't remember doing any of it.
Wow. I thought that story was going to end with you holding the toddler by the ankle, swinging it in the rafters.
You know, I should have.
Well, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you for being here. And this has been One Killer Question. Until next time, take care of yourself.
Yes, so that was... No. Well, this is the Everything Podcast, Season 2, Episode 37. That was One Killer Question, Episode 4. So, in tomorrow's episode, I will be doing a recap of all these week's episodes. It's going to be a bit complicated because, obviously, I didn't record them all in one go like I have previously. So that's it for the Everything Podcast, Season 2, Episode 37. Just remember, if you're on YouTube, you can like, comment, and subscribe. And you can also get in touch by emailing everythingpodcast2022@gmail.com. I will see you tomorrow. It's the Everything Podcast, Season 2, Episode 38. Goodbye.